This is kind of the biggest news, honestly, and something that isn't in the camera yet. So rather than making you wait till later in this video, if you're just here to see the color differences and the overall image performance between these two cameras, let's just do that right now. So right now you are looking at camera A and camera B side by side. Now these are both going to be shot at their base ISOs in the highest quality mode that we can do. Now the ticket with the S1ii is that we get a dynamic range boost mode, and this is going to work similarly but maybe not exactly the same to dual gain output. So now we're looking at two different clips. Now one is the LUMIX S1 Mark II with the dual gain boost turned on. Now if you guys watched my LUMIX S1R Mark II video or its comparison to the A7R5, you know that I talked very highly of the dynamic range expansion mode. This is a little different. In the S1ii, it's dynamic range boost. I'm not really sure how they're different, but they are different. Maybe because this is a partially stacked sensor versus the non-stacked sensor that we're getting with the S1R Mark II. I'm not really sure, but I will be doing a comparison between the S1ii and the S1R Mark II. So if you want to see that, maybe it's already up right now. That being said, camera B was the LUMIX and camera A was the Nikon. Were you able to tell the difference? How was the noise performance between these two cameras? Now this was not testing in RAW, which both of these cameras are capable of doing internal. This was just the 422 10-bit codecs. So I'm curious which one you all liked better. And now one more test for you guys. Because the Nikon can shoot NRAW internal, I'll go ahead and show you one clip that is the Nikon NRAW and then the other that is the highest quality 10-bit that the LUMIX is capable of. Now the reason why I'm not showing you guys the RAW that the LUMIX is capable of is because it's ProRes RAW. Now ProRes RAW is great if you're editing in Final Cut or you're editing in Premiere Pro. I edit in DaVinci Resolve and ProRes RAW is not supported in DaVinci Resolve, so it's kind of a bummer that that's the RAW that is in here, just because simply I can't use it. But that's why I'm not able to do a side-by-side between those two right now. I don't know, maybe I'll record a clip and show it to you guys in Final Cut. Post me, we'll figure that out.
No.
Let's take a quick break from looking at the sensor and resolution, and let's talk autofocus for a second. So the LUMIX system got a huge buff in phase detect autofocus with the S5iiX that released a couple of years ago. We're seeing the exact same thing in the S1ii. And for this test between the Nikon Z6iii and the new LUMIX, I will be using their new lens. Just so if you guys want to see the quality of this lens, this is their new 24-60. 60, such a weird number, not 24-70. I asked them why did we lose the 10 millimeters, and they said the reason why is so that they could make it smaller and faster. So theoretically the autofocus is even faster. So this works perfectly for this test. You all can be the judge. You're looking at it right now. You have camera A and you have camera B. We're mixing and matching. You don't know which one is which one looks better to you in this case, and I've now revealed which one is which. Yeah, to me, honestly, looking at the screen, they looked pretty comparable. I do think that for whatever reason, in the particular default settings, the Nikon Z6iii had a little bit nicer feeling autofocus, like when it was pulling to focus, when I would leave frame and come back, it looked a little bit softer, almost like someone's pulling focus. I did like that a lot, but otherwise I would say that they both seem quick and they both seem accurate. Yeah, I don't know what you think of this lens. I wasn't shooting at the 2.8 that this is capable of, just to keep it fair with the Nikon lens, because that one can only go to f4. But yeah, 2.8, 20-60. We like new lenses for LUMIX. That's pretty nice. Oh, hi Theo. Okay, do you want to come up here? I don't know if you can get up here. There's not enough space for you, man. Ugh. You have to sit. There you go. Lay down, please. No, thank you. That's the microphone. No, they don't like that. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about how the Nikon Z6iii and the LUMIX S1ii are different. Some of the things that I've noticed immediately is, one, we do get a sensor cover on the S1ii, which is actually great. So it's closed. Turn it on, it opens. We love that. We love protecting our sensors as much as YouTubers love exposing their sensors for the sake of the video. We also like making sure that they're protected while you're changing out your lens. That's a great little touch on this camera. Other things to note, we do get the flip tilt screen combo on the S1ii. The Nikon Z6iii, while still great, only has the traditional flip screen. Flips out this way, flips back this way, and closes. Still great, still a great screen, feels really robust, but it doesn't have the tilt functionality, which you know, photographers specifically tend to like that a lot. Yeah, you're gonna have to stay. You beg to come up here. Now, when it comes down to the body design, I would say that the Nikon feels just slightly more premium. I wouldn't say it feels dramatically more premium, but just a little bit. And then also, I've been saying this for a while, Nikon still has those classic chunky, really nice deep grips. And that's not to say that the grip on the Lumix is bad per se. It's actually fine. It's a little more Sony-esque, but not quite that. I hate that grip. Oh boy, do I hate the Sony grips. Doesn't feel like that. It feels still pretty good, but yeah, just something to note. The Nikon feels just a little bit more on the premium side. This is probably a small thing, but to me, it's a big deal. On the back of the Lumix, we do have a scroll dial, and this is just so nice for, sun's coming out. Hopefully that doesn't ruin this too bad. It's so nice for just navigating through the menus. It's also a button if you want to navigate it as a D-pad instead of as a scroll wheel. That's really exciting. The Nikon, though, opted for just a D-pad. And the thing about that is, in my opinion, and I had some people disagree with me the last time I talked about this, I just think that the D-pad on the Nikon feels a little bit spongy. It's not my favorite. I'm nitpicking. I am nitpicking, but I'm just telling you guys how it is. It just doesn't feel very good. And when this is how you navigate through the menus, I guess you could use the little joystick on the back, but even still, I've always used the D-pad so that I can hit the OK button a lot faster. Otherwise, they're both pretty comparable in a lot of ways. You do have both CF Express B as well as SD card slots. And here I am rocking these. These are my Angelbird CF Express B cards. Now, here's just something to note. I'm not sure if this will get fixed because I am using a pre-released camera, but with the S1ii, unfortunately, it seems that the 1 terabyte CF Express B cards, they're just not working. I put it in there and it's like, can't read the card. I'm like, okay, format the card, still not working. I was able to record a couple of clips on it, and then now it's saying I can't record to it still, so I'm really hoping that those clips aren't toast. So I've been using the 512s. Again, I'm not sure if that's an Angelbird issue, if that's a S1R2 issue, or if this is just, we need day one patch updates for the S1ii, but I don't know, if you have Angelbird 1 terabytes, maybe something to know. Now, a big deal to a lot of people, if you're streaming, the S1ii now has the ability to do a live stream through the USB-C port. That's really, really great. I know a lot of people like Terry Warfield has been asking for that. For myself, I don't really live stream very often, so it's not the biggest deal, but if that's something you're concerned about, the S1ii can do that now. In terms of battery life, I'd have to do a lot more extensive testing. It seems to me, honestly, like the Nikon maybe lasts a little bit longer than the Lumix. I'm not sure if that's actually true because I think I'm using the Lumix more, so that could be a little bit of bias on that front. Honestly, I would say they're comparable. They're roughly the same size batteries, so I don't think that's gonna be an issue. I should mention a couple other things with the S1ii. Because it's Lumix, we get all of the video features, which is great. In fact, this is a very video focused camera, so you would expect that. You're gonna get shutter angle, you're gonna get false color. We love false color. You're gonna get waveforms, all those things. It's actually just a really stellar camera if you're in the video space specifically. Lumix just does a really good job of giving us all the tools, so we really have nothing to complain about. With Nikon, we do now have shutter angle, so in a recent update, we got shutter angle. That's super awesome. However, we still don't have false color, and as far as I can tell, we don't have waveforms in here either. You know, it's kind of a bummer, but it's not the biggest deal. They could add it in a firmware, just like they did with the 180-degree shutter thing. That's great, but for now, it's not here. Thanks. Okay, so anamorphic. This is where things heavily favor the Lumix as much as the Nikon RAW looks great. And the fact that you can do 6K up to 60 in the Z6iii, all that's super dope. We love that, but, and we're filming in it right now, we're in open gate. Open gate, what does that mean? It means that we're getting a much higher top and bottom to our frame. More specifically, we're filming to the entire 3x2 sensor. Now, if we stick an anamorphic on there, that means we're going to have a much less stretched out, super narrow image like you're seeing right here with the Z6iii file compared to this, which is the S1ii file. As you guys can see, the top and bottom on the S1ii just gives you a lot of extra space. And additionally, something new that's coming to the S1ii is a 4x3 mode, which is perfect for 2x anamorphics like this one. This is the Blazer Kato. Here we go, I take off the cap for you guys. Blazer Kato 2X anamorphic. Because it's a 2X, it's such a large stretch. Using the 4x3 mode, you're losing a little bit on the left and right of your frame, but that's okay because that's kind of gonna get cut out in post anyway. Also, if you're using the Blazer 1.5X anamorphics in the 4x3 mode, you get a 2:1 aspect ratio, which is what I actually upload to YouTube most of the time. So that's actually a pretty cool feature. Unfortunately, Sony and Nikon still aren't giving us open gate in their cameras. I really hope that they change that in future cameras, but for now, this is what we're dealing with. And the LUMIX S1ii for anamorphic, and then also for cropping verticals for social media, as well as getting your horizontals. It's just so good. That's why all of us are using these LUMIX cameras. Honestly, it's really for the open gate. Now let's get a little bit deeper. The S1ii is actually giving us a lot of different options as well for resolutions and frame rates for the first time in open gate. So it's getting bright outside again. The sun is just making my life really easy. So for the first time, we are able to do higher frame rate in open gate. As long as you're filming in 5.1K, you can do up to 48 and 60 frames per second. And then you also have a 4.8K if you would rather, and that can also do up to 60 frames per second in open gate, which again is a big deal for anyone filming on anamorphics. These small anamorphics with the smaller camera bodies, this is kind of just the new age of content creation. So I did forget to mention that with the Z6iii and anamorphics, we are not able to de-squeeze it internally like we're able to do with the LUMIX, which is just a very extremely helpful, really, tool to actually be able to tell what's in focus, for one, and then two, what your actual final output image is going to look like. You can de-squeeze in an external monitor, but for me, I live pretty much out of a backpack, maybe sometimes a Pelican. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just the monitor. I just don't use monitors very often. And also the LUMIX S1ii is giving us anamorphic stabilization, which is really cool. So if you're using a 2X or a 1.5X anamorphic, you have different stabilization algorithms that optimize for that type of de-squeeze. And now you're actually able to use electronic stabilization to make it that much smoother. When it comes to this run and gun indie anamorphic filmmaking, I don't really think there are better options than these LUMIX cameras. What you doing, Sedona? Come here. Hey, baby girl. What you doing? Where's Cam? Where's Mackie?
Where is he?
So now let's do a rolling shutter test, because with the S1R Mark II, there was a lot of controversy about the rolling shutter performance, which it wasn't great. It really wasn't, especially when you put it into the dynamic range expansion mode. It got much worse, but for a lot of what I do and a lot of other folks do, not the biggest deal. For some of you guys, it's a big deal. Well, since it has the Z6iii sensor in it, it's going to be much, much faster. It's roughly, give or take, don't quote me, 11 to 14 millisecond readout speed. Compare that to, I think the Z6iii is a little bit faster. So they're doing a little bit different Nikon and LUMIX, which I think it's like 9 to 12 millisecond. And I'm talking about 4K 24 right now. So I thought in order to test out the rolling shutter, we would use trusty old tree. We're also going to use the dynamic range boost mode because that does significantly impact your readout speed. Yep, that's pretty bad. Then we'll also do a test with an anamorphic lens so that you guys can see, because with a 2X stretch anamorphic, you're going to have all of the rolling shutter dramatized, is that a word? Exaggerated. It's gonna be a bit exaggerated compared to the normal lenses that you use. So we'll go ahead and see what that all looks like. So one thing that I'm not sure if this is gonna make it in the video, if it does, that's pretty awesome. So this is kind of the biggest news, honestly, and something that isn't in the camera yet, but it's coming to the S1ii, geez, these names, S1R2, as well as the S1ii, which is a whole other camera that LUMIX is doing. And that is that it's going to support ARRILOG C3. Now, guys, this is not just a conversion LUT like we do in DaVinci Resolve, which is often how I color grade all of my stuff. This is actually LUMIX partnering with ARRI, and they are calibrating the sensor. I'm not really a scientist, I don't know how it works, but basically they're actually working with LUMIX and the sensor tech in order to give us true ARRILOG C3 in these cameras on a full frame LUMIX camera, not just in the GH7, which is pretty wild. This is not something that I can test out for you guys yet. I'll be making an entirely separate video on this, but If you guys want to learn more about that, definitely hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. Also, while you're down there, hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, that was it. So the title of this video is "The Choice is Clear," and that's because, in my opinion, it really is. While the Nikon Z6iii has a lot of great features like 6K 60 and NRAW internal, it just is missing a ton of features that Lumix has been giving us for a while, and with the additions in the S1 II, it's just kind of a no-brainer. I would have already picked the S1R2 even with the rolling shutter issues over the Z6iii, and now with this one, fixing that because they're utilizing the same sensor, plus all the anamorphic features that we're getting and higher frame rates in open gate or open gate at all. Again, the choice really is clear for me. If you guys like Nikon and this is a great camera and it works great for you, that's awesome. I do think potentially if I was doing photos, I might pick this one, although that's not what this video is about. But for me, it's the S1 II all the way. Now, if you want to see me talk about the S1ii, all these names are ridiculous, I'll have another video out soon, or maybe it's out right now. You can click that right here.